Hi there everyone, this is Tony Campana from Tony Marie's Creations, and I wanted to come on today and do a quick video showing you how I made a card that was just posted on my blog. I live in North Carolina, and every month a group of the demonstrators get together and they do a blog hop. And a blog hop is just if you have your own personal blog, then you create whatever the theme for the month happens to be, and then we share our information, and then we all post our projects, and then we share the links to everyone's page. So it's a nice way to get out and see what other people are doing and share their creativity. So what I'd like to do today is, again, show you this card. And this is the card that, I can get in there, sorry. This is the card that I posted on my blog. And it is from our stamp set called Vibrant Vases, however you might say that, which is actually from a $1 million sales achiever, Mary Fish. Once you hit $1 million in sales with Stampin' Up, you actually are invited to the home office, and one of the things you do while you're there is you actually work with the artist and you create your own stamp set. So it's pretty cool, but this was really a fun little stamp set, and I had a good time making this card with it. So I would like to go ahead and get started. This takes very little bit of supplies. And I will also post the link to my blog, which will show you all the measurements and everything that was used. And sorry, I went to go grab my instructions. So I will also just tell you what the measurements are, but you'll have those for reference at the after this post live. So I'm using Blueberry Bushel, which happens to be one of the ink colors that is retiring at the end of this catalog. And ink colors are 5 unique colors that Stampin' Up! Brings out, in addition to the color family that we always have to work with. And they're usually colors that are very much on trend with what's popular out there in the world. And this, the theme this month was to pick your favorite color and create a project with it, a monochromatic project with it. So this is the color I chose. I'm always leaning towards the blues. I've always been I've always been a fan of anything, any shade of blue. So naturally I went with this. But the materials that we're going to use are the Blueberry Bushel paper. And my first piece is 8.5 by 5 by 5, and I scored that at 4 1/4. And then I have a small panel piece which measures 3 1/4 by 2 1/4. There's a piece of Whisper White that measures 2 by 3. And then I have 2 pieces of Whisper White that measure 4 by 5 1/4. One's going to be for the outside of the card and one's going to be for the inside of the card. So that's my paper. There's also a 12.5 inch piece of our, I never say this right, Whisper White polka dot tulle. There you go. Whisper White polka dot tulle. I love this because when you tie anything with it, it still lays nice and flat. It's not bulky on your card, so when you're trying to mail it, you don't have to worry about it being thicker than the United States Post Office requirements for a standard size card. We're going to use Blueberry Bushel ink, which for some reason I've grabbed my Night of Navy, so I need to grab my Blueberry Bushel ink. And here I thought I was all prepared for this. Okay, Blueberry Bushel ink. I am using one of our blends, and it is the light granny apple green. That's the only other color that is going onto this card besides the Blueberry Bushel. Always, always, always put Wink of Stella on my cards. I just think it adds a nice little extra bit of bling. We are also going to use the smallest size rhinestones. And then I've got all my stamps mounted that we're going to use on the card. So we will go ahead and get started. And I'm going to just score my card base and then move that off to the side. And what I did was I worked with the small panel first. So I open up my blueberry bushel, and I chose the sentiment just for you from the stamp set. There's a lot of nice sentiments in the stamp set itself. So I wanted to stamp the sentiment first, and you need to put that towards the bottom of the panel so that you have room for your vase and flowers. So we have that. And then I chose, there's three different vases that you can choose from, and I chose the smaller little squat vase for this card. So I like to stamp my outline first, and everybody has their own way of doing stamps when they are multi-layer. So I stamp it in full strength, and then I'm going to come back with the solid image, and I want to stamp that off once because I want a lighter color to fill. And because this is the photopolymer stamps, you can easily lay it over the image, and then you get this perfect little lineup of your colors. So I'm done with the vase, and now I'm going to take the outline stamp of my flowers. And again, because you can see through the stamp set, I can lay those flowers right at the top of the vase. And then come back with the solid stamp for the flowers. And again, I'm going to stamp that off. And then I can easily line that up. And the way the stamp set works is it's supposed to have some empty spaces in the color. So it's not a defect of the stamp. That is what it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way so I don't put my hand into it, which is not an unusual occurrence. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of color on my leaves. Okay. And I am going to put rhinestones on this, but I'm going to wait and do that at the end. But I will go ahead and mount this to the 3.5 by 2.5 piece of blueberry bushel. Okay, and then that part is done. Now I have my two pieces, one for the inside and one for the outside. And I'm going to put on the inside corner of the card. I lost my card, I wanted to show it to you. The inside I did on this was just the little flowers down in the corner. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, I'm just going to stamp my outline. And then come in and put my color, but again I'm going to stamp off and then line that up. And then add my leaf color. I don't know how your day is where you are, but it's kind of a gloomy gray day out today. I don't think we've had any consistent rain, but it's just been overcast and not a great day. So it's a good day to be inside and stamping. Of course, any day is good for that, in my opinion. But what I didn't do on the panel, which I'll come back and do, is when I wanted to use my Wink of Stella, and when I apply that, you'll see that it starts to spread the color around a little bit in those white areas. And that's something that Wink of Stella will do when you use our classic inks, because they are water-based. And when you add a liquid to them, and it kind of spreads the color out. But I think it looks really cool. It's just more of a watercolor type of an effect. I'll set that aside, and then I'll come back and do this on the flowers for the panel. I love Wink of Stella. It's just so hard to get the effect of it when you're trying to photograph it or show up under the camera, but it has a really nice little glittery sheen to it. I just love it. I don't know what I'm gonna do if we ever decide to not have it in our catalog. And then when you're done with that, I just kind of brush the tip just to get any color that might still be on there. Okay, so we'll have the inside and the outside. Working on the outside part now. So this is random stamping, and this can tend to intimidate people sometimes. We have beautiful, absolutely beautiful designer series paper, which we call DSP. But sometimes you just want to create your own. And that's what I did in this case. And I just wanted to randomly stamp my vase. So I just started. I went a little bit to the top and then just kind of moved down. And then make sure you always go a little bit off. It gives it a more natural look than trying to stay inside the lines all the time. So, see, now I'll come down here. Now remember, you're going to cover up some of this when you put the panel on it. So don't be too concerned about perfect placement. I just would come back and when I'm done with this and just see how it all looks to me, and then if I need to fill in some space, I'll fill in some space. But the idea is that it's random, and sometimes random intimidates people. See, I'll throw one in here, and I think that looks fine. So now what I have to remember to do is every time I go to put in a center is to make sure I stamp it off. And as I said, because this is a photopolymer stamp set, it's so easy to line up, although I do have to kind of move myself up here. My camera mount is a little bit in my way, so I can't see exactly over. But if it's a little bit off, no worries. I want to also remind you that today is the last day of March, unbelievably, which means it's also the last day of our celebration promotion. And celebration is an event we have every year, and it runs from January to March. And with your purchase of merchandise from any of our current catalogs, you can earn free items. And those items can be stamp sets, they can be dies, punches, designer series paper, embellishments. It runs the gamut of all the products that we sell. And it's done in $50 increments. So the minute you hit $50 in sales on your order, then you earn a free item. And then as your sales increment by $50, then you can earn more and more. So there's still time to get out there and take advantage of that. My website is TonyMariesCreations.stampingup.net. You can go out there and see what is available. Some items we have sold out of, because through the promotion, it's always while items or while supplies last. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put that. Oh, I just made a boo-boo. Okay, so as you can see, since I haven't really put this down completely or forced it down, yikes. Okay, I'm going to come back and save this little mistake I made. Okay, so I'm just taking my bone folder and just rubbing those little creases out. So see, you can make mistakes. We all make mistakes. What I was supposed to do was to add this tulle ribbon under this panel before I put it on there. And also keep in mind, my panel is going to go up here too, so you're really not going to see that issue there. So I'm just going to lay that, and I'm only doing a knot in this. There's no bow tying, so it's not going to be something that you have to fuss with very much. Like I say, this ribbon ties so nicely, and notice it sticks a little bit to my paper because I had already put tape on the back of it. But that's fine. It's all good. So now I'm just going to go ahead and trim my tails on that, get that out of the way. Now I'm going to go back and put some more tape on where it came off. And I run the tape right over the ribbon. It's flat enough, it's not going to make a difference, although it did bunch up a bit. So we'll just flatten that out. Now come back and put this on the way it was supposed to go and laugh about me making a mistake while I'm doing a live. No one is perfect. Okay, and you honestly can't even see where I had that little mistake. So next I want to put this on with dimensionals. And they've been buried under my supplies here, so let me go grab those. Okay. I always do my dimensionals in each corner, and if it's a little bit bigger piece, I like to put one in the center. Some people really throw them on there. It's all a matter of personal preference. But this is going to raise the panel up just a little bit from the card. So I'm going to place that strategically so it does go over where I made my little boo-boo. And now I'm just going to come in and put in my rhinestones. I'm using our Take a Pick tool. Oops, it's still stuck to my finger, but again, I like to put things in numbers and in odd numbers. I've always read somewhere that odd is more pleasing to the eye than having an even number of things. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those 3 on there. And then I'll put my inside. And I don't have a particular sentiment on the inside. I tend to make up some cards and I won't put a sentiment in just because I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for or who I'm going to send it to. So there won't be a sentiment put on this one for a while. But that's it. That's the finished product with my boo-boos, just to show you we're all human. And a real quick way to make your own background paper. It's really simple to do. And monochromatic cards are a lot of fun to make as well. So thanks for stopping by and watching me stamp today. I'm going to post this out on YouTube a little later, and with that I'll have the link to my blog and also a link to the instructions that go along with it. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great weekend. Oh, not weekend. I hope you have a great week. Oh boy, I think I need another cup of coffee. Thanks everyone.